Hello, hello. Welcome back, guys. It is so good. It's such a blessing to be back in front of the camera again and to talk to you guys once more. So, to all my TikTokers, YouTubers, make sure you thumbs up the video or like the video. Make sure you comment, subscribe, share, do all those things. I love all those things. Okay, so let's jump right in. Okay, so I just want to talk just briefly about being your authentic self and why that's just so important. So I was reminded yesterday of a time when I used to work downtown in my city, and working downtown for it was a research company. So I'm working down there, and it was kind of like a typical day. And I wasn't sitting by, like, I had, like, my friends I would sit next to, so we could chat and everything, catch up. But this particular day, I wasn't sitting by my friends. I don't even think my friends were there. I was sitting by another coworker of mine, and I never met this woman before. But we started talking, and she seemed really nice, and I seen her a lot. We had a lot of people working there, so I seen her a lot around the workplace. So I ended up sitting next to her, and we started chatting and talking, and I really was enjoying the conversation a lot. And she's a really nice lady, and so we're talking, and all of a sudden, not that we were talking about this subject in particular, but she was like, it looked like she was kind of thinking about something, and then she was like, I think I want to go to your church. But it was so funny, like, not that there was anything wrong with that. I mean, that's great, but it was kind of awful. It was kind of weird, I guess, in a way, because I had mentioned my church. I had mentioned that I went to church. I had mentioned that I love Christ or any of that. So in my mind, I was like thinking, how did she know? I was like, how did she even know that I had a relationship with Christ? How did she know I was in church? How did she even know these things? But she was like, really excited and wanting to, go to church with me, and it was just a kind of a strange, like a beautifully strange thing, right? And then another time I'll tell you about, I'm on the train and I was reading, I don't know if you guys know about these little booklets, but they call it the Daily Word or something like that. A lady at my church used to always give them to me. So anyway, I had the Daily Word, and I was reading it. A guy was sitting next to me, and he noticed I was reading it, so he looks at it, and he was like, the Daily Word, huh? He just seemed kind of like, he just nodded his head, and, he seemed kind of intrigued by it. And I was like, okay, cool, But, in both of these experiences that I had, now, these people, especially my coworker, she had no idea, she had no idea that I was a Christian, had no idea that I love God at all. Yet, she was moved to want to attend church with me. She was moved. Something in her spirit was moved. God moved on her in that moment. So, it wasn't that I had done some kind of magic or I was so special, but it's just that I was being my authentic self. That's all I was doing. All I did was show up. I showed up as my authentic self. So I just came on here today to tell you guys that, and to remind you that it's so important to just do that very thing, to show up as your authentic self every day of your life, especially as believers. I know some of you may be watching and you may say, well, I'm not really a believer. I don't know about this whole thing of, walking with Christ, or I'm not familiar with that, or I was doing it, but I'm not doing it anymore, or whatever the case may be. Wherever you are, it is so important for you to show up as your authentic self. You have to show up as your authentic self, because that is how you change lives. That is how you move the needle, is by just being you, being who you are called to be. That is how you do things. It's not always this big thing, but it's just you being you. That's all. And that's what the world needs. The world doesn't need another clone of somebody else. They just need you. They need you to show up and show out. Okay? They want you to show up as you. Show up every day. Every day you wake up, you say, I'm going to show up today. I may not feel good, but I'm going to show up. I'm going to be me. I'm going to be my authentic self. You got to start being your authentic self. If you're looking and you listen to this and you're like, well, I don't even know what's the first steps to being my authentic self. The first step I would give you is by being true to yourself. Yeah, just having a heart of gratitude about your life, about the things you have, even about the things you don't have yet, and just walking in your truth. That is the first step to being your authentic self. That is where authenticity lives. It lives in truth. And God is love and God is truth. Yeah. So make sure you're showing up as your authentic self every day. Especially, I would say especially as a believer, and I know, like I just mentioned before, even if you're watching this and you say, well, I'm not really there yet, or I don't know if I want to be there yet as a believer, that's okay. That's okay. It's fine. This is still for you. But I just want to mention, as believers, our job is to kind of make believers of other people, right? And sometimes you think in your mind, that sounds big. That's like a huge task. And you're like, well, Lord, how am I supposed to do that? I don't even like, talking to people I don't know sometimes. I'm nervous, I'm shy, I'm introverted. That's okay. That is okay. God will make a path and a way for you, and He's going to make a way for you to be able to do what you need to do in the way that you're most comfortable doing, And a lot of times, you inspiring others to be the best they can be, or you inspiring others to come to God, is by you showing up as your what? Your authentic self. So all I was doing in that moment with my coworker and with the man on the train, I was just being my authentic self. I didn't do anything really. I hadn't said anything to her about church, God, or anything else. She just felt Christ's energy on me, because Christ lives in me. So she just felt the energy. Sometimes it's just you being you, and people will feel the love coming from you. It's radiating off of you. Christ is radiating off of you. So they feel Him on you. You don't have to walk around hollering and screaming and talking about, I'm a Christian, you should be one too. That's not exactly how, Christ would have you to do it anyway. Not necessarily. It may be, but not for everybody. That's not for everybody, right? That's not the route that He would have everybody take. Sometimes subtlety is best. So I was just showing up as my authentic self. Now, some people evangelize and they go out in the streets and they talk to people and they do things like that. They're more direct. Their approach is more direct, and that's beautiful. That is great. But that is not for everybody. As long as you're showing up as your authentic self, and when they do that, they are also showing up as their authentic self, because that's who they are at their core. But who are you at your core? So figure out who you are at your core. Who are you authentically? Yeah. Figure out what your truth is. The first way to figure out the truth is to have a conversation with yourself. Have a conversation with God. Yes. Find out who you are at your core. And remember what I said, be true to yourself. Authenticity lives in truth, so be true to you. Walk in your truth every day. We're going to show up. This week, we showing up, and we showing out. Authenticity. Yes. Show up as your authentic self. And on that note, I love you. Have a blessed week. See you later. Bye.